Okay. Okay, hopefully this goes through top chat and then moderation activity, reaction timestamps on. Okay, let's see. We're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna watch some Mike and No More documentaries while I'm playing this game.
About what would be the most effective way to kill a movement, to kill a coordinated effort for change. The first go-to strat will probably be to just murk the dudes at the top. That doesn't always work out. The movements of Gandhi and MLK kept chugging along just fine
What's
after
with the
they both
face
died.
paint?
With new
Where the hell
approaches to
can I
policing,
move the
though, the
face
most
paint?
effective way to actually kill a movement is to introduce individuals with tons of charisma
Okay, the
and
face
motivation,
paint needs
but
to
who don't
come off.
actually give a shit about the movement, who are just really there
Okay, that
to
makes it
look
easier.
cool.
Okay,
A perfect example of this
I
was
can actually
Wildlands,
see the
a movement
face.
that a decade ago was ignited over gamer indignation at corruption and lack of ethics in games journalism. It was quickly, and when I say quickly, I mean almost immediately, hijacked by culture war grifters on all sides of the political spectrum who just used it as a vehicle for lining their pockets and gaining clout. While GG accomplished little in the end, its legacy persists in various forms, including one of the most cartoonish supervillain ass Wikipedia pages I've ever seen. ISIS doesn't have terrorist organization in its title. Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy don't have sexual deviant in theirs. But Gamergate, oh, they had to let you know it was a harassment campaign. Also, they had to lock it down so only the select elite of Wikipedia can edit.
Man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
But there's also a less famous movement that's also been gutted by charismatic grifters. Comicsgate. As you can guess by the name, it was obviously aping the style and probably the notoriety of Gamergate, which was around 3 years old in
Oh, that
2017
sucks. I don't have the
when
rest of the.
hashtag Comicsgate first began to circulate. While the drama of GG was still fresh in everyone's mind, CG was just getting off the ground, ruthlessly trashing the trash comics that had flooded shelves and long boxes throughout comic shops all across America, as well as trashing the malicious behavior of the people making them against fans all across social media. You probably didn't know any of this nerd shit was going on. And I don't blame you. Even most geek communities, till this day, still don't know exactly what Comicsgate is all about outside of it involving comics. Contrast that with Gamergate, which, while still a niche and nerdy subject, has had major publications putting out stories about it, activists who spoke about it in front of the UN,
Uh,
and even had a notoriously cringe Law and Order
let's
episode
see.
dedicated to it.
What happened? These guys, they just can't stand women in gaming. What did they do to you? They leveled up.
The only people whose feathers were ruffled by Comicsgate were the people within the American comics industry. And the American comics industry is very, very small. Just to quickly convey how small the American comics industry actually is, there's a manga called Kimetsu no Yaiba, better known as Demon Slayer if you aren't a complete fucking weeb. It's pretty popular. I'm sure a lot of you watching this have at least heard about it. At the peak of its popularity, Demon Slayer was not only
Headwear.
the most popular manga in Japan, it was the most popular comic on the planet. Demon Slayer was so popular that in 2020, it outsold the entire American comic industry by itself. This is the dwarf-sized state of the modern American comics industry, and it's the
Uh,
catalyst for hashtag Comicsgate. CG started as a movement of fans of comics who
probably
hated
this
what
one
their
would be
hobby
better.
had become and wanted the industry to change. It definitely had elements of a culture war, but it was ultimately a consumer revolt. The OGs of Comicsgate, some of the most prominent including Captain Cummings, Ingleteen, Unranked Chevron, Douglas Ernst, and Richard Meyer, aka your boy Zach, had YouTube channels that predated the Comicsgate hashtag. A lot of them followed a format of taking a modern comic and tearing it apart figuratively, and in Meyer's case, literally. They would also critique the pros themselves, which was the easiest thing to do because the American comic industry has some of the most brain rotted, terminally online professionals of any industry I've ever seen. The way these niggas were straight up disrespecting the shit out of their own customers, you would think they were rock stars and rappers who were balling out of control. Most of them were. We're not talking regular money. We're talking begging strangers on the internet for rent money. Still, CG struggled for a sense of legitimacy. It was a grassroots movement
The
led by
agent they murdered.
independents, but that's all they were.
You knew him?
Well, fans.
He was a friend of mine.
Who had lots of critiques of the industry, but they were still
Sorry for
just a
your
bunch
loss.
of non-comic book making nerds on
I
the
could
internet.
say it comes with a job, but it doesn't get any easier.
We could dismiss the critiques
No, it doesn't. Guess you've been down here a while?
I've been living as Karen Bowman, international aid worker, for just about 5 years. Means living rough, but as a cover, gets me out and about.
At least it comes with a chopper.
How'd you get in country? I flew in business class from Manaus. Hey, I'm refreshed and ready for work, right? I just hitched rides from Barranco, Peru. How about you?
I got on board a bus in Hui, Argentina, and drank all the way to Villazon. Nobody wants to deal with a drunk on the bus.
That explains why you smell like ass.
I've heard rumors about you guys. I was a rookie field officer in Moscow when the coup went down. There was talk you were involved?
Nah, it must have been someone else. We were never there.
It's not every day you get to meet an urban legend in the flesh.
Huh, you should tell that to my kid. Maybe he'd listen when I tell him to take the trash out.
Is it hard being someone who doesn't officially exist?
You tell me, Karen Bowman, international aid worker.
I'm sure you've seen the horrible, fucked up shit humans are capable of when there are zero repercussions. But let me tell you right now, no matter how you compartmentalize, how you desensitize, you can't prepare for El Sueño. He's got a religious streak that rates pretty close to delusional. He's taken vows of poverty, chastity. If he's not in it for the chocha or the money, he's in it for the power. This joint task force is CIA, DEA, and JSOC. I'm your resident spook for this ride. Welcome to Operation Kingslayer.
Our briefing said there'd be a contingent of locals.
The Qatar is 26. They're a group of rebels who've been giving Unidad and Santa Blanca some resistance. We'll meet their leader, Pakatari, soon as we touch down. The Libyans have a long history of hating us Yankees, but this time, let's hope the enemy of my enemy will be my friend. But don't turn your back on him. I'm not going to.
Hey.
Four soldiers. This is the help you promised? That Sandoval promised? A single Yankee died, so you send a handful of soldiers. Hundreds of Bolivians have died from Santa Blanca's bullets. Where will my hundreds of soldiers come from?
As Americans, we aren't here, remember? These soldiers are the best covert ops team our country has to offer. With their help, you won't need hundreds of soldiers.
Are you familiar with the word Huber, Senora Bowman?
Meet Pakatari, leader of the resistance group Qataris 26. We will be working with the rebels to destabilize Santa Blanca's organization. They've been fighting Santa Blanca and corrupt Bolivian officials for nearly 6 years now. We'll need to coordinate targets.
There's no time for this. We have information on Amaru's whereabouts.
Amaru, you found him. Amaru is one of the founders of the Qataris 26.
More than that, her group is founded on his ideas. Without his theories of an agrarian proletariat, there would be no organized resistance against Santa Blanca and the corruption in our government. Amaru must be saved. If you were to assist my people, it would do much to earn my confidence.
Where is he?
We do not know exactly. We know he's in this province and that there's a Santa Blanca lieutenant who knows where he is.
I'll put a call into the activity, see if they can dig more intel out of the airwaves. Start looking for that lieutenant and keep me informed of everything via sat phone. Good hunting.
Saving Amaru is important to our cause, Yankee. Make sure you don't kill the Santa Blanca lieutenant before you get the chance to ask him questions.
Throwing up that hashtag like the OG CGers were. Now they were doing it to sell comics, to get super chats, to move merch, to make money. This was great if you were someone who mainly just wanted to make money selling comics without still being part of the mainstream industry. If you were someone whose main purpose in Comicsgate didn't involve stacking paper to the ceiling, well, Doug TeNapel put it best.
I think the problem with Comicsgate was always
Time to earn your pay, people. Put on your game faces.
I tell you, I'm not too comfortable working with Pakatari and these rebels. Their kind of ideology always ends up with more bodies in the ground. What's your feeling on this, Nomad?
End of the day, this is a revenge mission. We need to focus and get this done quick before we get stuck between local politics and the firestorm of cartel bullets. First objective, track down that Santa Blanca lieutenant so we can find Amaru.
Wow.
Do I need to fly down and say it to your face to be a man? Or are you just gonna tell me to kill myself? Seems comic pros always end up being the worst people, like DNC has stated multiple times. At the time, everyone thought Captain Cummins was just having a tism fit, going off for no good reason. Maybe because he was just jealous that he was now just a commentator in Comicsgate, while Ethan, who came after him, was both a more popular voice in CG as an influencer, and also had the most crowd-funded CG project, Cyberfrog Blood. But look at
Don't want to spook the target. Switch to suppressors.
Keeping the bullshit from Ethan Van Sciver several years ahead of everyone else.
Comicsgate.
Got eyes on the target. Let's move.
Devolving into your typical hierarchical struggle for control and influence. So Captain Cummins is accusing Ethan Van Sciver of being the new gatekeeper of comic books. Yeah, it probably is, actually. Seeing his personality type, looking into what Ethan Van Sciver has done before.
Spotted one with submachine guns. Got another tango.
He always tends to end up leading a cult of personality type of situation with him as the fulcrum and all these different characters then almost sparking from his central Green Lantern factory. So he's found his new group, as Ethan Van Sciver. He's found a new little group to take over, and that group is Comicsgate. And I think what Captain Cummins is doing right now is reacting against
we got company.
A hierarchical, almost natural, organic even, but a takeover nonetheless.
Ethan, with his new circle of comic pro capos, had effectively turned Comicsgate into his own personal internet fiefdom that he would have the most influence over, in which his own platform, Comic Artist Pro Secrets, served as the central hub of. He might not have been officially crowned, but Ethan Van Sciver had become the undeniable king of Comicsgate. But Captain Cummins wasn't going for any of that shit, so he peaced out, nuked his channel of almost all its CG content, and left the movement he started, but had quickly become unrecognizable to him behind. He may have been the first major figure of CG to disavow the movement and bounce, but he wouldn't be the last.
Hey, we got a narco.
If
I don't see him.
There, in the watchtower.
You would think CG was on the road to great things. They had multiple books in the works with crowdfund campaigns that were doing crazy numbers. Their YouTube channels were blowing up like crazy. And articles both pro and anti-CG were popping up and showing the community's growing influence. The sky looked like the limit. But just like Icarus, Comicsgate fell as it was getting too close to the sun. Or rather, the Frog King kept yanking the movement back down to his dirty-ass pond, with one drama arc after after another. One short but pretty important one was with a guy called Theodore Beale. Beale, better known as Fox Day, the Dark Lord, or Teddy Spaghetti, was a writer and games journalist turned far-right blogger. He's been a veteran of this culture war shit for a good minute, going blow for blow with SJWs in the Gamergate trenches. In fact, he had been publishing comics with right-wing politics long before Comicsgate was a thing, and he claims it was never about money.
I don't own Comicsgate. I don't own Archaven. I don't own Legion. I don't own any of this stuff. The idea that we are doing this because
Quédate quieto.
somehow going to
Pinche
make
cabrón.
money.
Which is what every dishonest grifter says.
Here's the deal, asshole. You answer my questions, or I put a bullet in your gut and leave you to die in your own shit. ¿No entiendes?
Chill the fuck out, cabrón.
What do you want? Amaru, where can I find him?
You serious?
That's what this is about? Sure thing. He's at Atoya Farm. Go on. Then you can see what we do to people who fuck with us. People like you.
And he succeeded.
We need to get this done in a hurry. Maru's an old man. He's not going to last long under torture.
Shit, if they've been working on him for a while, there's a good chance he's already dead. Maybe, maybe not. Maru is a major player in the rebel movement. The cartel will keep him alive as long as they can to find out what he knows.
We can't afford to take any chances. There's too much riding on this. Let's move.
Alt Hero 1 and 2 were basically Tom Clancy graphic novels. There's nothing politically alt-right about them. But that didn't spare Teddy from getting his spaghetti spilled all over the floor. He would sue Indiegogo over this, but the more annoying legal dispute for him would be over the Comicsgate trademark. See, back in early September of 2018, Vox Day announced that he was starting a new imprint, Comicsgate, and that this imprint would be used to signify that a comic was 100% SJW free. A lot of CGers weren't fans of this move at all, especially Ethan, who had succeeded in turning the Comicsgate hashtag into a brand already, and even had a show, Comicsgate Live, where he would bring other creators on so they could pitch their books to the audience. Vox Day, on the other hand, had literally never used the Comicsgate name for anything up until he announced his imprint, leading people to accuse Vox of infringing on the Comicsgate trademark. Now Vox, with a level of confidence that only a white nationalist slash disgruntled games journalist slash Gamergate veteran could possess, asserted that he wasn't stepping on any legal toes because the Comicsgate trademark still didn't belong to anyone, since nobody had filed for it yet. Tragically for Vox, a Florida man would cuck him out of his ambitions mid-stride, just like Indiegogo had. Antonio Malpica, a pro-CGer who was fundraising for his own comic and was very partial towards Ethan, actually applied to register Comicsgate as a publishing trademark with the intention of giving it to Ethan in the future. It was also brought to Teddy's attention that nobody in CG would want to use his imprint or even be associated with the name Comicsgate anymore if he insisted on using
Let's
it
get
for
moving.
his own purpose.
The cartel isn't going to wait around for us to track down and rescue Amaru.
Calling him Two-Faced and claiming that he was just fooling everyone else so he could use CG to grift for money. In tonight's Dark Stream, I talked about the panoply of shameless lies Two-Face Van Soyver, aka 2VS, has been caught telling about Comicsgate in the last 24 hours. I also rejected his invitation to go on the show because I don't tolerate or talk to liars. Sooner or later, and judging by the fact that they're still spazzing out on cue, it will be later. His sad little band of comics gatekeepers will realize that he is the scam artist who's been lying to them all along. I pointed out how Two-Face's crowdfunded commission model is totally incapable of revamping the industry because his $12,300 cost per page simply cannot be expanded. He's basically another pinup artist. He's producing 48 pages at 1.87 times the total cost, for which we are producing at least 1,148 pages. We are already employing 20 times more working artists than he is. YouTube-based televangelism is a great personal business, whether you're in comics or self-help, but it's not one that will have much relevance for the industry over time, nor is it capable of transforming it.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
As objectively, factually true as Vox Day's words were, they fell on deaf ears. Nobody in CG about what he had to say. For pretty good reasons, let's be fair. And EVS managed to effectively keep him out of the movie.
Now,
We'll leave a marker so the rebels can pick up these supplies later.
To do with Comicsgate. It isn't Comicsgate. He's not associated with me or anyone that I know of within Comicsgate.
This was the last cuckening Vox Day would suffer before leaving the movie. Well, it's more like he got the door shut, but whatever. That nigga hit the road. He would change his Comicsgate imprint to Arxhaven, and that was that. Ethan successfully bashed the Fash and put that punk bitch-ass Nazi in his place for trying to co-opt the Comicsgate hashtag just to make money. But Mikey, didn't Ethan co-opt the Comicsgate hashtag and use it to make money? Yes, that is exactly what he did. What Vox Day tried to do, Ethan had already done, which is why Vox was so confused why everyone else in Comicsgate was so mad at him. And also why, besides CG's reputation to be affiliated with someone like Theodore Field, why Ethan was so mad. Because Vox was strolling through his hood without checking in and potentially fucking up his life. But why did most of CG not have a problem with Ethan doing the same thing Vox Day was trying to do? Well, that's easy. It's because Theodore Field is a pseudo-intellectual weirdo.
What a wonderful name for a town.
He's a witty
They were protecting him.
with charisma out the ass.
The village is known to need as a haven for rebels. Why do these rebels even bother? Kill them all. The whole village.
Hang on, I'll drive.
The pot culture. And wipe it off the face of the earth.
The next most prominent case would be Timothy Lim. Tim Lim might be the most hard-working artist in modern American comics. Originally gaining popularity with well-received Trump lyrics, My Hero Academia, shortly after the election, used on the less election cases like Black the breakout comment of them. But before that, back in 2018, another conservative comic creator caught up in the momentum of hashtag Comicsgate. Tim was an early Comicsgate supporter, and already getting a lot of popularity in the scene without needing much of a YouTube presence or getting any shout for being fan Skype. Something that was damn near unprecedented. He did eventually end up getting attention, but not the type of thing. It was during the big screen of the Bible that Ethan and Tim talked to each other for the first time. Before they could exchange words, Ethan was doing what he did best. Laughing.
I'm not the leader of Comicsgate, but I say that I want that to be back. About it.
Hear that? Uncle Ethan's not the king of Comicsgate. We know he's not, because he keeps telling us, and you can take Uncle E at his word, which is exactly what is happening.
I know where Captain Comics is coming from because of an exchange. I found out about it after it happened, and
Fucking hell!
it was transmitted to me by several people, and they wanted my opinion on it. So I have the transcript right here, and I'd like to read it.
Tim took Ethan so much at his word that he brought the transcript of a previous stream and repeated Ethan's words back to him verbatim.
And this is what it says. I said to Zach, and I said to all of them, quote, stop comics, stop. I think Chuck is working on some Trump in Facebook. Look, it's not 2016 anymore. Where Captain Comics is coming from is that statement of I said to all of them. And that's not true.
Right. Okay.
He revealed that Ethan was sneak dissing him in his books and said that he had shared these sentiments with Meyer and the others. But Tim talked to the others in Comicsgate, and nobody can confirm that story. Now, Ethan claimed that he didn't know that Mark Pellegrini and Tim Lim were working on a specific Trump book he was talking about. But there were only like 4 niggas making Trump books on the market. One of them being Tim Lim, who worked on My Hero Academia and his Trump's Facebook. Now, I know what
Enemy activity nearby.
Ethan already
Yo, cartel gunman in the field.
that Chuck Dixon was working on. So how can he know that Chuck was fighting, but not that Tim Lim was drawing? That's a good question. One that Ethan struggled on this stream to come up with an answer for. Honestly, all this, we don't need these political Trump books, and CG talk of EBS just came off as kind of gatekeeperish. And not for the more justifiable reasons he had with Vox Day. This just seemed really petty. In fact, this might all seem like
Spotting
petty
another
stuff
tango.
to you.
Watch
You
your
might even
fire.
think
We don't want to
Tim
hit
was
any
being a
civilians.
little oversensitive for bringing this up during his and EBS's very first interaction with each other. But this little
And
interaction
baby makes 3.
meant a whole lot to you. Timothy Lim had broken one of the unspoken rules of Comicsgate, a rule that's obvious to everyone in CG now, but wasn't as obvious back in 2018. He called out Ethan on stream for lying and made him look stupid. Ethan couldn't even argue because Tim was literally using his own words against him. He apologized.
Moving to
and
position.
essentially bit the knee to Tim. Timothy Lim made Ethan
got another.
Van
That's
Sciver
5.
kneel
Say the
in
word.
their very first interaction with each other. Nah, this seemingly petty interaction stuck with Ethan. The Frog King wasn't gonna let Tim just go out and live his regular life after this, because Ethan was gatekeeper.
He's
Tim
gone.
was making these Trump-themed books and giving outsiders the impression that Comicsgate was a pro-MAGA movement, while Ethan was trying to keep CG as politically neutral as possible. Right-leaning centrist at the absolute most. Desperate to rid himself of this meddlesome Asian.
I got a narco over here, inside the bar.
Coming up on a Toyo farm. Remember, a lot of these Sicarios are ex-military.
ID your targets. If Amaru gets killed by a stray round, Operation Kingslayer will be dead in the water before it even starts. Let's go.
And make it too obvious that he was trying to get rid of Tim. So he would live on what was essentially a shit poster task force made up of fans on the fringe of Comicsgate, who would engage in all the psychological warfare that Comicsgate proper couldn't do without fucking up their options. Still, they would be pro-Legion, and most importantly, pro-Ethan Van Sciver. The name of this group was War. No, I'm not bullshit. Ethan Van Sciver really had his own personal internet troll army called War Campaign, led by a coked up Canadian with a talent for gaming and internet. Oh wait, that's the wrong Canadian. That one's so.
Are you Amaru? What's left of him anyway? Come on, I'm getting you out of here.
In the past 6 years.
I made my way up through the ranks, motherfucker. Taking out opponents. Chaos by gate. Motherfucker. First thing I did, I picked black dude. Met some peasantry. Met on construction, you understand? Got some leverage over them. So a little bit of dong picks, a little bit of poontang picks. Boom. We went in and we said, all right, let's do this. Who wants to fuck shit up, motherfuckers?
He was the undisputed leader of War Campaign and the most loyal member of Ethan's Legion.
Hello, my name's Praetorian. You may know me as a former member of the Inner Circle of War Campaign. Here you can see that Bro says I'm an integral member of War Campaign. At the very head, you have Bro Kabir Kumar, who is the absolute undisputed leader of War Campaign. Things run like this. It goes through Ethan Van Sciver most times, to Ro, to the Inner Circle, and then from the Inner Circle, it'll go out. War Campaign doesn't like people who criticize Ethan Van Sciver. At all. If you are critical of Ethan Van Sciver, you are immediately a War Campaign site.
That's not me making a joke, by the way. These dudes literally LARPed as Roman legionaries and hailed Ethan Van Sciver as their Caesar.
Hail Caesar! Hail Caesar!
Hail Caesar!
Hail Caesar!
Oh, I know you press play on this video expecting insanity and brain rot to be gradually introduced. Nah. Even back in 2018, when Comicsgate was still a young and open, we already had this level of pumping the business community's day. And again, this was all just to get rid of Tim Webb. That work ethic collection.
Punch it, man!
Where are you taking me? Back to your friends. Entonces, pa' Qatari has made his deal with the malditos extranjeros. Take it up with him, senor.
The War Campaign claimed the scout.
This is it.
From being fat. A lot of the CG communities like that. He even occasionally brought on Ethan Stream along with Cecil, who was the CG member.
Check it out, weapons case.
Some chaotic energy. There was even a comic in the works. with art being done by Tim Lim. Now there was one problem.
Are you hurt?
Nurkish was a little too edgy for Ethan's taste.
Santa Blanca is
More
not the most
precisely,
gracious of hosts.
Nurkish's Discord was a little too edgy.
These Aukas, these
Discord where he's a free
demons, they
speech
are questioning me.
absolutist and he could absolutely let
Let us
these
say
people in.
their
I
talk of
started
love
to
was enough to
receive,
make me vomit.
Pictures of his Discord,
But their
of
methods
an
were not.
extreme. And when I say
Were
extreme,
not.
I
Were their names Yuri and Polito?
See,
extreme
Yuri
anti-Semitic
Polito.
material.
Now, Nurkish
These are the
didn't
fucks
really
that tortured
control
Ricky
or even
Sandoval once when you
contribute that
questioned
much to
him.
his Discord.
I want
He
them
popped in
back.
a few times to talk.
We only
but
sell
for the
run-of-the-mill
most part, it was
Sicarios when
just
we
a
freed
Discord
Amaro.
server with his name on it that he didn't
But I
have a
haven't
whole
seen
lot to do
Yuri and
with.
Polito in at
Because
least
Nurkish
3
is such
days,
a
maybe
adamant
4.
free speech
I don't know
advocate,
where they are
something
now.
we naively assume
We need more
most of
intel.
CG. He never bothered
We'll
to
search
moderate,
every village and
just let
camp
the
until
guys
we
there
find
make whatever edgy memes
Somebody's
they
got to know
wanted when he
something.
wasn't around.
Gather
Then,
documents, hack
returning to the
computers,
stage for a
interrogate
second
hostile
time,
lieutenants,
entered
talk to
Jason
civvies,
Youngblood.
whatever it
According to
takes.
Ethan's
We'll
sources,
turn over every rock.
Youngblood, along with other dyed-in-the-wool anti-CG SJWs like Rentfamous, had peeked inside the Discord, saw it was a disgusting bed of Nazis, and somehow these SJWs managed to get Nurkish's docs.
Heads up. Bowman's file on Yuri and Polito's coming through.
But things kind of hang out. And I get
That's the rundown on La Yuri and El Polito. They're a key part of Santa Blanca's security operation. Remember to check out Bowman's briefing on their chain of command.
The guy in charge of security is El Murrow, the wall, personal bodyguard and childhood friend to El Sueño. El Murrow's little brother is La Plaga, very active on social media. Head Sicario for the cartel.
The hunt starts now. You want Sueño, we gotta work our way up the hierarchy. First targets are Yuri and Polito. We find the intel, we track them down, we take them out.
And further validate their claims of Comicsgate being full of far-right Nazi chuds, they sit on it and say they won't put it out if Nurkish just shuts down his Discord. They want this alleged Nazi to get rid of the Discord with all the evidence of the alleged Nazism they're trying to expose him for, and somehow it was you, Ethan, who just happened to catch wind of all of this and literally everyone else, including Nurkish.
Jason Youngblood and people around him were threatened to dox Nurkish and then hide him from me and Comicsgate, and thus successfully bring down the Indiegogo platform.
Nomad, I've got Pacatari on the line. Sounds like he needs our help.
Put him through.
Hola, compadre. I have a problem in Itaqua. Bowman says you may be able to help. My people need help. There have been many losses to the cartel, and the horrors inflicted by Yuri Polito have broken their spirit. The fires of revolution have almost gone out.
Spare me the rhetoric, Atari. Just tell me what you need.
There is a cartel supply convoy passing through the province soon. Capturing it will give my people much needed supplies and restore their morale. Can you do this?
Consider it done.
Taking orders from Pacatari now?
Atari needs this convoy. We are gonna give it to him. The more he depends on us to get shit done, the more we can get out of him in return.
For early CG. EVS was now starting to move like he was some indie comic dictator, complete with sycophantic followers and secret police in the form of autistic shitposters who LARP like they were members of a Roman legion.
There are people who think I'm ordering war campaign, and that's why this meeting exists right now. I want to make it clear that, war campaign A does not represent me, not one bit. And I am unaware of, and I do not ever, and have never asked war campaign to do anything to somebody else, ever.
And people keep saying stuff like, you were never told what to do, we never told what to do. I was in so many Ethan would get mad, Ethan get mad and pull us in a Discord, and yeah, he definitely starts telling us what we can and can't do. And then if someone starts breaking the rules, then you get well down your throat.
Looks like Captain Cummins was on to something. He called the human something out his name earlier. OG Comicsgate was dead, and in its place was Comicsgate 2.0.
That was messy as shit.
Has successfully been co-opted and monetized by Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan also finally managed to get rid of Tim Lamb after Nurkish got snaked on and bailed on the cash grab project. Tim followed suit and left CG to focus on his own future project.
Drone is airborne.
Pellegrini. This would be a blessing in disguise for Tim and Mark, as they would go on to make a campaign for their successful comic series, Common America, and also found their own comic book print, Iconic Comics. The OGs of Comicsgate also weren't having, and unlike Tim, who just quietly packed his bags and headed out the door, they raised a bit of a fuss before they dipped out.
Comicsgate was a grassroots consumer movement, and for a while it was just simply based on this understanding that mainstream American superhero comics, that they were just really bad.
There's Sicario over here.
Tell me where.
The dump. Where else?
I think that what's gone wrong in the past couple of months is that it has just literally become all about these crowdfunding campaigns. It's literally become solely about making money and not so much about putting these things out and holding people to account and holding for
civilians in the air. Watch your targets.
Ethan Van Sciver said multiple times that he just really wants to.
Round just missed. He's looking for the source.
But the problem is that so often it seems like people have to basically go to Ethan Van Sciver. Yeah, basically that he is
keep it quiet. They know we're here.
And it seems like he has used his power more than once to basically choose who he doesn't want in this movement. I mean, he tried to stop the Tim Lamb basically twice. Where he said he just didn't flat out want that. And then recently with this cash grab thing, Nurkish was trying to distance himself from this. And according to EBS, according to you Ethan Van Sciver, on your stream that you did, you flat out went to him and said, your comic scheme, whether you want to be or not, because it looks bad on me, then I can't have this associated. So if that's what comic scheme is really now, and whatever makes EBS look good or bad, that's not the consumer movement anymore.
In the eyes of many of CG's old guard, like Unranked Chevron, Evil Teen of I Love Comics, and Captain Cummings, the leaderless consumer movement they have founded that converted and turned into a hierarchical business model with stringent gatekeeper-like tendencies and internal politics that look a whole lot like look like you can take it
cover, get the cover,
but you couldn't take the industry out of the comic pro. Because these dudes brought a whole lot of garbage from the industry along with them. And they cultivated a new culture in CG that completely sidelined its early principles. This new culture's main goal wasn't so much critiquing and trying to enact change in the comic industry as it was making Ethan Van Sciver and his friends a lot of money. And anyone who got in the way of that, intentionally or unintentionally, was not a friend of Ethan Van Sciver. And if you weren't a friend of Ethan Van Sciver and Comicsgate going forward, well, you could go fuck yourself. Between 2017 and 2018, Comicsgate seemed unstoppable. Anti-CG were losing their fucking minds because they couldn't stop the momentum.
Spotting
and all
another
these
tango.
Comicsgate campaigns were printing so much greenery. You would think Jerome Powell was running Indigo. What nobody knew was that this golden age of CG was going to be very short-lived. The first of many major headaches actually originated back in 2018 for Richard C., your boy Zach Meyer, a veteran of the Marine Corps and one of the founding fathers of Comicsgate. Now, despite being treated as Comicsgate's Moses, Meyer was never officially a part of the movement. This never stopped Ethan from encouraging other CG pros to keep working with Meyer and encouraging his fans to keep supporting Meyer's campaigns and generally just blobbing and glazing your boy to completion. Now, back in May of 2018, your boy hit a little chrome dome-shaped speed bump named Mark Waid, a distinguished comic writer who had an almost religious hatred
This
of
document mentions a Unidad captain who sends prisoners to Urian theater for interrogations. He's got to know where our loved ones are. But he's sitting in the Unidad firebase.
Comic publisher Antarctic Press, he sent what was essentially a Taliban night letter to Antarctica, warning that if they published Meyer's book, Wade and the other pros in the industry would slander and struggle session the shit out of their business for working with a racist, hate-filled, foaming-at-the-mouth Nazi like Richard C. Meyer. This assertion of Wade's that Meyer was the same considering that his favorite comic book character is a nigga on a skateboard, and all of his kids are mixed. Regardless of the absurdity of Wade's claim, his intimidation tactic was super effective, and Antarctic Press dropped by his book, stopping jawbreakers from making it onto shelves. Your boy wasn't standing for that shit, and launched a lawsuit against Wade in late September for torturous interference, to the applause of the rest of the CG community that he wasn't involved. Granted, not everyone in Comicsgate was so eager to support Meyer in his lawsuit. Some, like Douglas Ernst, a fellow U.S. military veteran, even tried to warn Meyer beforehand about what he predicted would just be a considerable strain of Meyer's time, money, and mental health. But your boy persisted. Honestly,
We're gonna look around here for some
dropping
intel.
Meyer would be more of a blessing than a curse, because he would receive a new wave of financial support for his current book, his future projects, and his legal funds. In spite of the lawsuit and the bad press, Comicsgate's momentum didn't seem like it was going to stop anytime soon. But then, something really problematic. Something that almost
We've
no
got
one
enemy
in
activity
Comicsgate
nearby.
seemed prepared for. The time came for them to actually deliver their books. Of the myriad issues that would plague Comicsgate, the most damaging from a purely business standpoint was the late fulfillment of books, taking tens or even hundreds of
Check your
thousands of
targets.
dollars
We
from
got civilians
backers,
all over the
and then
place.
taking forever to fulfill became the rule rather than the exception in Comicsgate. A lot of guys didn't fulfill their campaigns at all.
All I know about Comicsgate is it's really obvious a lot of people are making like a lot of money. Like you see like one comic book is like hitting $500,000, another's hitting like 80,000 and 40,000. Like you guys are doing gangbusters, right?
That's right.
So you're gonna have a ton of people come in who might be, you know, have ulterior motives or might see an easy payday, looking to shill some stuff and try to make a quick buck.
Little did Jim realize that he was preaching to a den of heathens, most of whom would become the very bad apples he was warning them about. Even Ethan, the king of Comicsgate himself, would be very late.
We got a tango with multiple civilians around. Assholes.
Which was supposed to be in the backers' hands by November of 2018, but wasn't actually fulfilled until December of 2019. Matter of fact, let me just go through a list of CG-affiliated creators who launched campaigns before 2020 and were behind schedule. I'm going to be nice to your boy Zach and exclude Jawbreaker's Lost Souls because he actually.
I'm riding the motorcycle.
Move out. I'm on your 6.
For his first book, Monster Envy by Von Clouds, due early 2020, fulfilled April 2021. 1 year.
I'll drive.
Cyberfraud Blood Honey by Ethan Van
To
Sciver,
the market, Jeeves.
due November 2018, fulfilled December 2019. 1 year and 1 month. Long Harbor by Alejandro Mirabel, due February 2020, fulfilled July 2021. 1 year and 5 months. Bring Us the Badass by Donald DeLay, due April 2019, fulfilled April 2021. 2 years. Red Rooster Golden by Mitch and Elizabeth Whitehouse, due 2019, fulfilled April 2021. 2 years and 1 month. Plan by Antonio Bryce and Karen White, due January 2019, fulfilled April 2021. 2 years and 3 months. Yes, by Carl Orwell, due April 2019, fulfilled April 2023. 3.5 years later. Doom Kick by Elliot Fernandez, due February 2020, fulfilled never. 4 years and 9 months late in counting.
Shit,
Dead
we got
Detective
company.
Red Crimson by Antonio Malpica and Shinobi Sasquatch by Cal Jameson, both due October 2019. Both fulfilled never. Both 5 years late in counting. Sovereign by Andrew Huerta, due May 2019. Fulfilled never. 5 years and 5 months late in counting. And finally, Conflict Claws Out by James Dean
Hey,
Anderson.
we got an narco with a submachine gun.
April 2019, fulfilled never. 5.5 years late.
I've got eyes on the captain.
The craziest
Tango
thing
number
about
3.
James's book being over
makes 5.
half a decade late is that he's still working in CG under Ethan Van Sciver.
And you'll have the line 'em up Tommy gun. I've actually got James Dean Anderson, who created the Rainbow the Brute logo. He's gonna redo the lettering that says "line 'em up" on the barrel to be in Rainbow the Brute like font. So it'll look much nicer just to line them up right there.
And of course, he's doing work for Rainbow to Brew, a campaign Ethan will be 3 years late on fulfilling come this December. You know what? Let me ease up on James a little, because while he's the tardiest boy with turning into pulling the shit out of your backers isn't a unique quality. Take the Brightwisers, for example. Oh, Mitch and Elizabeth managed to eventually get Red Rooster into their backers' hands. It was only after they pulled one of the skeeviest, most shameless plays I've ever seen from a crowdfunding campaign. Pay attention, because this is some S-tier grifting. This duplicitous couple bamboozled their backers into thinking they were only funding Red Rooster. In reality, Mitch took that and used it to fuel his startup, a new comic company called Allegiance Arts. Not only that, but he and his wife then made a deal with Walmart to stock Allegiance Arts books at Walmart shelves. You remember those floppies you would just randomly find where the trading cards or magazines in Walmart were? Those were Allegiance Arts books, and one of those books was Red Rooster. The only problem was that Mitch and Elizabeth backers still hadn't gotten their copies of Red Rooster Golden Age yet. Their backers were a secondary back burner priority who would have to wait 2 fucking years to receive the book they gave to the Brightwisers used that money to make their dreams just pure, uncut grift pain. The same drug that killed Gamergate. Oh, but spoiler, the
Engaging
Walmart
hostiles.
Legion Arc fell through because Mitch's company couldn't deliver the new book in time. Congratulations, Mitch. You fucked over your audience and your reputation just so you could create a company that's just as bad at meeting deadlines.
They know we're here.
But hey, at least they finished it. That's not always a guarantee when you give someone from Comicsgate your money. Still, Brightwiser's idea of going bigger with their comics, of working with an established company and not just staying cloistered away in a small indie comics corner wasn't a unique idea. Ethan had similar desires, not just for him, but for Comicsgate in general. He wanted CP to have that mainstream connection, and he managed to make it happen.
Santa Blanca commendation. Those Sicarios will be missing this.
That EVS will be collaborating with Dynamite Entertainment to make limited edition.
We got enemy reinforcements incoming.
Available for backers on Indiegogo.
I got a 20 in the garage where Pluto parks his sports car. We snag that, we snag his GPS. Maybe something there tells us where he and his girlfriend are.
Wouldn't collaborating and building ties with Dynamite be a huge conflict of interest? If this was still early Comicsgate, I would say, yeah, it would. But this is Comicsgate 2.0. And the main purpose of Comicsgate 2.0 isn't to be a consumer
Sure are a lot of lights and
looking
switches
to
up
change
here.
the industry. It's for Ethan Van Skyver and his friends to get paid and staff people.
And I have to give up money. I have to go find me back. By the way, I can't how it's argument best various things. I have to go into my own personal bank account.
Okay, looks like more Sicarios want to get some.
Asking for refunds because there are efforts to intimidate or bully people from people who are saying "Hail Caesar."
I think with all their money, the cartel would make it nicer metal.
Were too useful to their Caesar for him to order their crucifix. War Campaign's first major target within Comicsgate in 2019 was Mike S. Miller, another former pro-turned-Comicsgater who launched his own campaign, Lone Star, shortly after joining CG. The thing that was really the target.
Let's go. Let's go. Watch your step. These guys know something's up.
This discord could cause problems for CG in the future. Who has been
We've learned that an Unidad captain named Fuentes has been working with Yuri and Polito. Interrogate Fuentes and see what intel he can give us.
Go on. We ain't here to run down civilians, dipshit.
Your tactics typically involve
and it's like that's how they control my behavior. We were remove our solemn pledges to just taking money out of my kids' pockets. Food on my because I disagree with them about stuff.
And he wasn't the only one outside of Comicsgate. We're getting tired of these Canadian captains.
Get a stack of tires, watch out.
Every direction. One of them was the only guy in CG who had greater industry prestige.
What the hell are you doing?
Gym creator Doug Tenaple. Doug joined Comicsgate back during its early heyday, but he hasn't been part of CG since 2019. And during that absence, Ethan and his Comicsgate Legion have never missed an opportunity to throw shade to Naples.
Here we go.
Got it. Eyes on the Unidad captain.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Dog decided to launch his own campaign against Comicsgate on Big Fuck this. $17,614 in the first 6 hours.
It's pretty embarrassing. What could Doug have possibly done to earn this level of honor? Well, according to Ethan, he used Comicsgate just to milk them for his new book, Bigfoot Bill, to get back ownership of Earthworm Jim, and then bounce from CG without giving the community the thanks it deserved for helping Dirtworm Doug dig his way out of home. But just like every narrative Ethan pushes about a friend turned
Silencio,
marche.
tranquilo.
Milking Comicsgate
Easy,
back with
camine.
all the money you can get is something every creator of CG does. It's literally been the
You may
default
as well kill me
behavior
now.
of
I'm not
CG
talking,
creators
carajo.
from 2018
Well, that's your
onwards.
choice.
And out of
But with a
these,
pair of sick
Doug was
fucks like
actually
Yuri
one
and
of the
Polito,
very
one day
few
that might be
who
you
delivered
hanging
a
from their ceiling.
high-quality product to his
You can't
users.
trust them.
For two,
It would be a
Doug
relief if I
did
took them
and
out of your
still
life.
does to this day,
Look,
even after
I'm not a
all the
snitch,
BS,
but let's just say,
give
yeah,
Comicsgate
they
props
freaked me
for
out.
helping him
The
out
thing
like
is,
they
they're
did.
not even in
When I left
Itaqua.
Comicsgate, I was done
So
with
call
it.
them back
I
to
was done.
Itaqua.
And I meant
Tell them you
it,
got a
and I
package ready.
finished the dedication of the book to you. After I left Comicsgate, I made sure that dedication was there to you, and my thank you to Comicsgate in the credits. I wanted to make sure that I kept that there to show my respect for what people
how people helped me.
And for 3, the actual reason Doug left Comicsgate in the first place was because of war campaign. Ethan not only enabled him, but straight up throwing gasoline on a fire and encouraging them as they smoked up the joint. See, Doug had been trying to corral
Who need that
war
chopper? Stay
campaign
low.
for a while, intervening in a feud between some of his war campaigns.
Helicopter, get down.
Go to Matt's house before he
Look out the heels.
Soldados enemigos tuvieron contacto con la es hora de terminar la búsqueda.
Got eyes on a care package. Got to plot a route to it so the rebels can do a pickup.
Yeah, Doug was out.
Bowman, this is Nomad. We're on the ground in Okoro. What have you got for us?
Okoro is the heart of cocaine production in Bolivia. The network there was built by El Yayo and predates Santa Blanca by more than a decade. When El Yayo joined the cartel and became the boss of production, he handed Okoro off to his grandson, who goes by the name El Emisario.
The emissary.
He spends most of his time outside the province, rubbing shoulders with politicians and Sucre, and greasing the wheels for the cartel. Not really his job. But the guy's something of a charmer, and he figures this is the best way to make his grandfather proud. El Yayo lets it slide so long as Okoro continues to produce. Fact is, the network is so well established that it pretty much runs itself. El Emisario's assistant handles the rest. Get in there, gather intel on Okoro's production sites, and start fucking things up. That'll put pressure on El Emisario to come back to Okoro and get things back on track before Granddad finds out. When that happens, we grab him and use him to get to El Yayo.
Getting an upload from Bowman. Looks like she's got some intel on El Emisario. I'll alert the rebels so they can collect this. Good work, team.
Next time, can you tell them to get their own fucking groceries?
And trying to mobilize them against me and some kind of weird gay ops
you know what, I heard about that, and I believe that was Tug, that I was in a